Today I'm putting the dynamic S.H.Figuarts figures to the test by recreating 15 iconic poses from across the Spider-Verse. Can I nail all of the looks? Let's grab the accessories, figures, and let the challenge begin. For our first pose, I'll recreate this mid-air shot of Miles, one of my favorite shots from the trailer. I'm starting by swapping his right eye for a more squinty one, and then his left hand for one that's web shooting. Accessories play a big role when figure posing, and the good thing is Figuarts figs have a bunch of them. To get Miles in the right pose, I'll start with bending and extending his arms as best possible, and twisting the hands slightly to replicate them as you see here. Miles' right leg is kicking out with a tilt in his foot, while the other is bent inward. After a few more minor adjustments, we've accomplished our first pose of the video, and man does it look good. The next pose is Miles swinging through Mumbattan, home of India's Spider-Man, also known as We already have the web shooting hand on Miles from the previous pose, so all we need to do is switch out his right hand and swap his right eye for a wider one. Once those pieces are in place, we can start articulating the joints to get the perfect pose. As I was finishing up, I noticed that the eyes I had chosen looked a bit strange, so I decided to switch back to the more squinty ones, which looked way better. When you're posing a figure, you may find yourself swapping out pieces to match what you're recreating, and I think that's one of the things that makes the experience enjoyable. With all the joints in the right spot, I think we've nailed our second pose. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now on to pose number 3. For this, we're recreating another shot of Miles swinging in Mumbattan. The only pieces we'll be using are his long web and a gripping hand to hold it. Miles' body has this slight curve to it with his head looking in the direction he's swinging. His left arm is twisted as he grips the web while his right arm is behind him. That's the look we're going for here. For the final touch of this pose, we'll give Miles the web and the pose is ready to go. In this next pose, we'll throw Spider-Gwen into the mix. There's a moment in the Mumbattan scene where Miles, Gwen, and Pav leap simultaneously in their own style. I would have loved to include Predator in this, but sadly, he doesn't have a figure yet, which pains me. Perhaps we can make that happen if you like this video and subscribe to the channel though. Kicking things off, we'll start by giving Miles open hands and arching his body inward as best we can. We'll then proceed by repositioning his legs, rotating his arms behind him, and tilting his hands out. I wish Miles had better articulation for his body, but this is the closest we can get. Moving along to Gwen, we'll give her open hands, rotate her arms behind her, then bend and twist her legs until we get the right look. I did have to make a few adjustments here and there, but I eventually got both of the Spideys to look how I needed them, and I think that this pose looks pretty awesome. For our fifth pose, I'll recreate when Miles ran on top of a building in the rain while shooting a web. This shot is an important part of the movie, and if you know, you know. I gave Miles a web shooting hand, a web effect that fits on his wrist, and a relaxed hand. Posing the joint this time around was pretty easy. First I extended his arm with the left hand tilting outward to shoot his web, just like when my boy tried shooting his shot with Gwen only to be rejected. I also bent his right arm with his hand tilting inward and fixed his head until it looked right. The only thing left to do was get his legs into a running position, which worked just fine, and I even got to pivot his toes thanks to that great articulation you get with Figuarts figs. In this next pose, I'll have Miles do his craps from when he's following Gwen at night. Alright, Miles was kind of stalking her, but whatever, do your own thing, man.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
There is a moment in this shot where he does squint his eyes, so I made sure to give him that look here, and he's using the open hand for his left arm. I then proceeded by articulating the arms and the legs until I found something close to the shot. Not going to lie, posing Miles' leg was a huge pain here, but I eventually found the look I'd be satisfied with, and I don't think I did too bad of a job here. Pose number 7 is from Miles' first encounter with the Spider-Verse portal where he's falling. For starters, his eyes are wide open, so we'll use both of those pieces here. We'll also use both of these open hands as well. After that, I raised his left leg, bending it at the knee and repositioning the foot. His right leg is also kicking to the side with the foot pointing down. When it comes to Miles' arms, the right will be down at his side, while his left is above his head. I twisted it a bit to show off the red strip on his suit too. I am curious if Miles will see one more suit change at the end of his trilogy, because this one seriously looks like like he's bleeding from the armpits. Wrapping up Miles' pose, I'll adjust his hands and then he's ready to fall through the portal. Next up, I'll recreate this sick shot of Gwen standing on the wall outside Miles' window. This pose is probably the simplest in this video because all I have to do is give her relaxed hands and fold her arms. Although repositioning her arms was a tedious task, the mission was successful, and as simple as this pose may be, I really like how this one turned out. In this next pose, I'll recreate when Gwen sat on Miles' bed, moments before she triggered collectors in the theater by ripping open his collector's item. This Figuarts figure for Gwen comes with an unmasked head and a hood, which is perfect for this shot. She's also quite flexible, so crossing her legs went smoothly, and the final touch was to match the position of her arms. Once I finished doing that, our pose of Gwen was ready to go. Since I still have a few poses left until our final one, I'm taking things up a notch and giving you poses 10 through 14 in a speed round. Things are gonna go pretty fast here, so don't blink and let's do it. And for the grand finale, pose number 15, I'm recreating this crazy shot of Miles swinging. This pose is by far my favorite one I found, and it's the cover art from the exclusive release of this figure too. To get this pose right, I've given him a pair of wide eyes, a hand with the fingers like this, and a gripping hand for this web effect. Miles' arms and legs are in this dynamic position, so this was my main focus when recreating this look. As for his front arm, it's straight in this shot, but I had to take some creative liberty here by curving the figure's arm so the web would be in front of the back arm like we see here. Once I finished my last minute adjustments, I completed our final pose of this challenge. And there we have it. 15 different poses from across the Spider-Verse using an action figure. This was a really fun challenge for me, and I had a lot of fun making this video. Typically, I post reviews on this channel, but lately, I've been brainstorming some fun video ideas for figures in my collection, and this is just the start of it. I definitely want to turn this video style into a series on the channel, so if you want more of this, drop a like and let me know in the comments, as well as give me some suggestions on which figures to use. If you want to check out reviews of the figures used in this video, check them out here. I also just dropped the first ever merch for the Geek Effect, as well as a Discord server for our community, so be sure to check those out via the links in the description. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.